Alrighty. Welcome everybody who's watching, or if people are watching, whatever. This is a stream. Good morning and welcome to this semi-sunny day. Hopefully it's not just top of the morning to you. Hopefully you've been up for a while. It's 10 o'clock. I've been drinking coffee for a while. And water. It's important to keep your water up, your fluids. If you're drinking coffee, double up on the water. Today's coffee is not brought to you by Tim Hortons. The cup is Tim Hortons. But my coffee today is Kicking Horse Coffee. I love that stuff. It's like, oh, it's the best. Usually, I'm trying to be kid appropriate, so I'm not going to say some of the titles of the roasts I like. But the one I like today, it's a yellow emblem of a donkey. Smart, whatever. It's great stuff. It's a little acidic for me, but it's good stuff. So hopefully you have your coffee. And today we're gonna have some stories. I'm gonna talk about my origins of playing guitar, and talk about some of the projects I'm working on. So let's get to it. First of all, you might notice I have cans on my head and I have my guitar. I am gonna be singing a few songs, just to deal with that whole guitar origin thing. So let's start. I'm going to go with projects first, since this will be a random thing. So some of the projects I'm working on. First crazy thing this week wasn't really crazy. I thought it'd be crazier. I got a new solid state drive for my computer tower. I thought it would take a lot longer than it did, but it's incredibly fast now. So the upgrade is kind of handy to have. I thought it would take like a whole day. It took a few hours. Reinstalled Windows, did the whole thing. So now running things like my video editing software, Adobe Premiere, running stuff like this software for broadcasting stuff, it's a lot faster. Yeah, Windows boots like crazy fast. I'm surprised I didn't do this years ago. But yeah, Windows boots in like 10 seconds versus before it was with just like a hard drive, like the moving parts HDD drive, it was taking about like a minute. So now it's super fast and I'm happy. That took a decent amount of time. So that was like, it was good times. My computer's happy now. The other project I'm working on right now, I'm looking at, I'm developing, planning out, outlining sort of a YouTube kids series based on music theory, like how to read music. It's still kind of, I've outlined 4 episodes I want to do. I'm still developing how I want the whole theme of it. I've started writing for the first one. But I'm still developing. I don't like some of the areas I'm going with some of the characters, but it's, again, a process. It's trying to figure out projects that I can do in this time I have now with, we're all socially isolated, which we're dealing with it. It's all good, as long as we're getting out. That's the thing. Get out, go for a walk, maybe avoid parks and main paths, but just go for a walk, even to the end of the block, get some fresh air. Just so you're not stuck in your house with the furnace recycled warm still. If your furnace is running heat, probably you're getting some recycled air, so that's always lovely. So go out, get fresh air. Aerobics are good. Drink lots of water. Try to stay sane with projects like this. So again, kids show. I might be looking for some input for some people, so doing things like sound bites and stuff to reflect like kids cheering and kids. It's like, where's this, kids? And then have some people like, yeah, it's this, and all that sort of thing. So I'm looking at that. If anyone wants to help me, I'd be grateful for that, but I'm going to be pretty selective because my sense of humor is, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm a huge fan of like Monty Python and things like that, but I want to keep it kid friendly, but I'd also want to have some adult aspects to it where adults will get the humor, not like adult content, but like adults will get the humor. And be like, haha, it's like when you watch Toy Story or something and there's that joke that you get, the kids don't know why you're laughing though, and you're like, yep, I know why this is funny. Yeah, there's times, one show I used to watch when I was a kid, actually, Animaniacs. That show has so many adult jokes that I didn't even get when I was a kid. So, but I want to look at that. So it's being a little ironic too with some of the jokes I make. So there's things like Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer, whatever. They have these little cliche things they do. So I want to try to play off that, make it like, oh, that's lame. Anyhow, that's the whole idea with it. It's still in like a working process. I want to see what it does. Then I'll start filming, and then do the editing and all that. But it'll take a while to figure out what I want to do with that. Because it's just sometimes I'll work on something for half hour, go take a break because we have a lot of time right now. come back to it and be like, oh, I don't like that. So I'll just delete it, retry it. So that's the whole writing process right now. It's more of just trying to have fun with that and make it interesting to kids, because I know sometimes I don't know how everybody's dealing with this so far, but at first it was kind of weird being isolated, but as it continues on, kids are going back to school next week, so hopefully they can be busy. But I think this would be kind of a fun little, I think it'd be about half hour on YouTube episodic thing. First one I'm looking at would be to deal with reading on the staff and like reading notes on the treble clef, and just something for like kids, a basic knowledge of reading music, because it's kind of funny, but even understanding things like reading guitar chords and reading dots on a page essentially can be a little tricky. So I want something a little lighthearted and strange, even that adults could even look at, but it's kind of geared towards kids. But yeah. Anyhow, those are kind of the projects I'm working on now. I'm looking at a few other things in the future, but those are the ones that have some. The SSD is pretty much done. It still has some. I'm still, after reinstalling Windows, there's still a few idiosyncrasies I have to work through, but I mean, it's way faster than it was. Didn't take long to reinstall everything, get everything set up. So I do have a new webcam coming. This one is probably 15 years old, if not more. It's from like the Vista age of Windows. So, it's been through a lot. I can see its age. It's been doing some weird stuff. So I have a new webcam coming. Hopefully that'll help with some of the things, like if I do play some of these like little songs that I'm going to be doing today, you can see my hands a bit, but it's not a big deal. Anyway, otherwise it's just a new webcam to look prettier, hopefully. I don't want to have to do makeup because that just takes a lot of time. So yeah, but the hard drive, I'm just rambling now. I have half an hour to ramble. So it did take time, but I have all my files still. Everything's ready to go. So I'm going to be developing a few YouTube videos too, other than this kids show. Just keep me essentially busy, because there's only so much you can do with practicing an instrument, doing whatever you do, doing projects right now. If you're like, okay, I think I need a break from this. So then go to the next thing, run out of that, go to the next thing. So there's a lot of us who have plenty of free time. So, try not to get discouraged, find things to do. And hopefully in some of these videos, I'll be able to help if you are musical at all, or just want ideas for music stuff. Like I'm going to be talking about my guitar origins, like how I learned guitar. And hopefully some of that, if you were like, hey, this is time I could learn to play guitar. I have that guitar sitting in my closet since whenever. Hopefully that it can be a bit of inspiration. This week I'll talk about guitar. Next week, I think I'll talk about bass and drums and like the rhythm part of things. So anyhow, I just need more coffee. I'm going to drink my coffee, because if you don't have coffee, you should have coffee. All right. So with my guitar origins, I'm working backwards, sort of. The double bass I started more recently, so I'm not going to count that one. Sort of. But guitar, of the three main instruments, like I mainly play like drums and bass. Guitar was the thing I started after bass. So guitar I've been playing. It's been almost 20 years, maybe. It was about my second year of university. I kind of started getting into it. I'd played bass before, and one friend in university had a jazz combo with a couple of people, and they needed a bass player. And I'm like, I barely read bass clef. I sing bass clef, but I don't play bass clef. So they got me to play bass, which I'll tell that story next week. But as time went on, and I was working at a music store at the time, I kind of got into the thing of playing guitar. So my first guitar I bought at the music store was a Yamaha RGX 012, similar to their Pacifica line. It held up long. Like I kept it for years. I experimented on it, did some experimental tech work on it. It didn't die. I kept it alive. And then actually the funny thing is I don't have that guitar, but I still have the amp. The first amp I bought is just down there. It's a Marshall MG30 DFX. I've had the thing since I started guitar. I started on electric myself, self-taught, all that thing. And yeah, so like I said, self-taught. I took advice from at the time one of the guitar teachers, and just to get me started, just to get working on things like pentatonic scales, just extras to do on my own. And from there, how I learn my chords is a whole other thing. And that's where the singing is going to come in. Hopefully my voice doesn't die because I'm not very warmed up today. So it's show and tell time. I don't know how pretty this is going to look because this book has been through a lot. I picked up a book. There goes everything. This book here, it's all in pieces. It's lovely. Look at all those pieces. It's been heavily used. I need to get a new copy probably because I'm missing pages. But it's how I learned guitar, how to play my guitar chords. It's a Beatles guitar chords book. And at the time, I was learning to play, or I didn't even really know what music I liked until like first year university when I heard Drive My Car. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. What is that? And that Christmas, I got the Rubber Soul album. That was my first Beatles album. That was mine. And, listened to all those tracks and got into it and then got this book to learn guitar with. And there's some crazy stuff. Like the Beatles compositions are kind of nutty. They're not your standard 1, 4, 5, 6 progressions, which that's a whole other thing. But there's some weird things I learned through playing the tunes. Whether it was finger picking, like right hand stuff, or it was left hand stuff. So I'm going to pick and choose a few songs today that kind of helped with that. So in this book, I'm not going to show it because I don't want, it's my book. Nobody else can see it. You can go buy it or something. But in this book, there's the chords at the start of the song. So you can see the chord shapes at the start. And then it's just words and the chord names. That's it. There's no music notes. There aren't any rhythms or anything. You have to kind of know how the songs go. And so this is actually how I learned a lot of the Beatles library too. Oh yeah, and if you're questioning my Beatles fandom, if you look that way, there's a Beatles bass, like a viola style. My dog's name is Ringo. If you looked on this wall, if you could see it, there's Beatles posters and pictures. There's a picture of John Lennon over there. If you question that, that's fine. Let's see. There were, I didn't know a lot of songs. Like Drive My Car, actually, that's one of the songs I'm missing pages for because I broke the spine on that one. That's lovely. So I'm just going to pick a few songs. So this is one that came from, this one I did with a friend, but it's one of those ones, it's kind of the first song you hear in Across the Universe. And again, Beatles songs are really high, so I'm going to be capoing this. It's supposed to be capoed. It says 8th fret, but I'm just going to do it on 5th. So let's see if I can sing this one for you. This one is called Girl, and it's a Lennon McCartney song. And if ever there's weird sound things or whatever, let me know. I think the levels are good, but yeah. Here we go. Is there anybody going to listen to my story? All about the girl who came to stay. She's the kind of girl you want so much it makes you sorry. Still you don't regret a single day. Girl, girl. When I think of all the times I've tried so hard to leave her, she will turn to me and start to cry. And she promises the earth to me, and I believe her. After all this time, I don't know why. Oh, girl, girl. She's the kind of girl who puts you down when friends are there, you feel a fool. When you say she's looking good, she acts as if it's understood she's cool. Girl, girl. Was she told when she was young that pain would lead to pleasure? Did she understand it when they said that a man must break his back to earn his day of leisure? Will she still believe it when he's dead? Girl, girl. So that was one of the songs I started with. And with any of these songs, it's kind of funny because a lot of the complicated chords I learned were bar chords. So in Girl, they have things like a B minor, which is a lovely bar chord. Oh yeah, and you also learn about capo. That's the other thing. But a lot of these bar chords have weird changes that are, a little tricky. Some students I've had takes a while to get bar chords, get the finger strengthened. So I'm gonna go to another one here. And just a little bit of this because it's so high that I'm probably gonna hurt myself. Well, it's not so high. It's just at this time of day, it's pretty high. So this one was, if I actually sang this the way I want to, like where I do this one at the market sometimes with my friend, and when I do sing it, I go for the high notes. Like it's not a big deal, but in this space, I don't want to hurt the microphone. I don't want to hurt your ears. So I'm just gonna sing the first little bit, like the first verse. This one got me used to the actual bounce of a kind of a country bounce. So I'm just going to play a little bit. This is Help, Lennon McCartney. It has that, it starts with a bar chord. Help, I need somebody, not just anybody. I need someone. When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now I find I change my mind, open up the door. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down, and I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground. This is gonna be too high to sing, because I'm not going there today. That's gonna be painful. But that was another song. I love that song. But again, I don't want to blow your. I'd have to sing back there behind me somewhere for not to hurt you. I'm gonna. Let's see here. I will take a request in chat if people really want to request songs, but I don't know. If you request something crazy, these are like the actual keys that were the Beatles sang, and they sang in some pretty crazy keys. So let me see here. There was one. Oh yeah. So this one was one I used a lot for finger picking and getting used to playing some strange chords, but it also did finger picking, and it does drop D. So for those of you who don't know, drop D, you take the top string and you tune it down to D, which I'm going to match with my fourth string. Okay, so that's drop D, and it starts off with like a high. I'm not going to use my pick for this. Dear Prudence, won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, greet the brand new day. The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you, dear Prudence. Won't you come out to play? There's page turn. Yeah, that's always fun, like page turns. Anyway, dear Prudence, open up your eyes. Dear Prudence, see the sunny skies. The wind is low, the birds will sing that you are part of everything, dear Prudence. Won't you open up your eyes? Look around, round, round. Look around, round, round. Look around. Dear Prudence, let me see you smile. Dear Prudence, like a little child. The clouds will be a daisy chain, so let me see you smile again, dear Prudence. Won't you let me see you smile? Yeah, that was one that was nice for finger picking. Nice getting used to the drop D. And now I'm going to turn it back up to E. Sorry, that was probably loud. So I'm going to do a couple more, and then I'll close out. So, again, requests? No? Nothing? Okay, perfect. I just got to do whatever I want then. Yeah, and I've always been a fan of, like, it's really always been interesting with the Beatles stuff. A lot of people know the band, like they know of the band. They've heard of the band. That people reference their favorite artist or whatever likes their stuff. But even when I, query some of my students, they wouldn't really know Beatles songs. And then I play something, they're like, huh? And it's kind of funny when such a popular band, a band with a name like that, some people don't really know their songs, especially I like their B-side stuff, the stuff that's not as common. A lot of people know like there's that Beatles 1 album, which came out in 2001. It's like all their like Hard Day's Night, I Want to Hold Your Hand, all those popular songs. Lady Madonna, Day Tripper. People know those songs, but then there's stuff like Dear Prudence, which is the second track on the first White album, I think, like it comes after Back in the USSR. And even that, the White album, there's a lot of unusual stuff. And if you want to talk unusual too, look at when Sgt. Pepper's was another, I love, like that's a crazy, strange album. It's so weird. It has some really strange stuff, but it's really interesting to listen through the whole thing. So I'm going to play a song from there. It's a strange one just because of the style of the song. It's one that I end up doing for the market sometimes, and I can be criticized for this or whatever, but I do it for the market. And because it's a fun, bouncy little song. Not really little, but it's one of those that, I mean, when some people hear it, like, or have heard this song before, at this point in their life, they can actually be like, hey, wait a second. That is where I am in life right now. So I'm going to sing this song. This is called When I'm 64. And here we go. When I get older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine, birthday greetings, bottle of wine? If I've been out till 2:45, would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? You'll be older too. I need to drink something. And if you say the word, I could stay with you. I could be handy mending a fuse when your lights have gone. You could knit a sweater by the fireside. Sunday morning, go for a ride. Doing the garden, digging the weeds. Who could ask for more? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Every summer we could rent a cottage in the Isle of Wight if it's not too dear. We shall scrimp and save. Grandchildren on your knee. Vera, Chuck, and Dave. Send me a postcard, drop me a line, stating point of view. Indicate precisely what you mean to say. You're sincerely wasting away. Give me your answer, fill in a form. Mine forevermore. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Woo. It's just weird. That was on Beatles album. You have this old jazzy ragtime song that's with like a pop rock band essentially at the time. But other tracks on that album had, East Indian influences. Last one I'm going to do today, and then I'll close out, is going to be one from the first album I liked, Rubber Soul. And this one has some picking things, some melodies interspersed into it. It's the second track on Rubber Soul, coming after Drive My Car. If I can find it. Oh yeah, one fun thing about this whole isolation thing, as much as I miss rehearsing, I was playing a lot of double bass and haven't had as much time to play guitar, other than like when I was teaching. So it's kind of nice to be able to just play guitar. Let me see here, alphabet. All right, so this one is called Norwegian Wood. It has a nice little melody in the middle, so here we go. I once had a girl, or should I say, she once had me. She showed me her room, isn't it good, Norwegian wood. She asked me to stay and she told me to sit anywhere. So I looked around and I noticed there wasn't a chair. I sat on a rug, biding my time, drinking her wine. We talked until 2, and then she said, it's time for bed. Told me she worked in the morning and started to laugh. I told her I didn't and crawled off to sleep in the bath. And when I awoke, I was alone, whispered her phone. So I lit a fire, isn't it good, Norwegian wood. All right, so that's kind of, I used this book a lot when I was learning guitar. From there, I've gone on to do a few different things. I have different guitars, like this one. My first acoustic was a Walden, blue colored, but this is my current acoustic, the Sapphone Hummingbird Pro. I have another electric back there. I've changed my guitars over, but how I started was just learning my chords, learning my shapes, figuring out the songs in a Beatles book. So hopefully everyone stays safe. I'm going to close out now. And if you have questions or whatever, message me or whatever on whatever platform, Facebook. Next week, I'll talk about bass stuff. If I'm essentially all about that bass. If you're talking about, if you know that song, whatever. Show some things off. Depending on how the setup ends up being, I might bring that bass out, the big one, but it's a little awkward to fit in with webcams and everything, but we'll see. So again, stay safe. Go out, walk up and down the block real quick, do some jumping jacks, get some aerobic exercise, drink some water. Pay attention to water intake. It's a really important thing. Coffee, if you're drinking coffee, drink more water. Keep you hydrated. And hopefully you can find your projects to work on and keep you going until whatever happens, we get back to work eventually, hopefully, maybe. But we won't know day to day. So keep your heads on, and I'll talk to you next time.